The following is a community affairs presentation from the Ulster County Health Department. This is the Healthy Ulster Radio Show, a weekly presentation exploring community health and sustainability with guests representing a broad spectrum of community partners working to make Ulster County the healthiest in New York State. This program is sponsored by the Health Alliance of the Hudson Valley in Kingston, a member of the WMC Health Network.
Good morning. You are listening to Healthy Ulster Radio. I am your host, Dr. Carol Smith, Commissioner of Health and Mental Health for Ulster County. With me this morning is my co-host, Ben Martello, our Director of Community Health Relations. Good morning, Ben.
Good morning, Dr. Smith, and happy spring.
Yeah, same to you.
Dr. Smith, today our topic is one that is very near and dear to my heart, and that is bicycling. It's something that, as many of us have done, I started riding when I was a kid and never stopped. And of course, Ulster County is one of the premier places, I think, anywhere in the world to ride bicycle, whether it's in an urban environment or out in the country. We have beautiful roads in the mountains. And today we have a very special guest, and that is Tom Polk, who is the bicycle educator at the YMCA in Kingston and Ulster County, and is also on the staff of the New York Bicycling Coalition. Tom has been educating youth and adults in safe bicycling skills at the Y for 8 years. He's a league certified instructor with the League of American Bicyclists and is a certified ride guide with the International Mountain Bike Association, and a graduate of the London School of Economics. So you got brains and a great bike.
And great physical prowess.
Good morning, Tom. Welcome.
Good morning. Thanks for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
Great having you, Tom.
Tom, it seems that bicycling is becoming a more and more popular sport, and also being used more for transportation and recreation in Ulster County. What are you seeing out there? I seem to see a lot more bikes out there.
You know, it's funny, depending on who you ask, there are a lot more bicyclists out there, or people don't see any of them and don't understand that there's an alternative to the vehicle. So personally, I see the interest increasing, and I see people commuting to work, some out of economic necessity. So there are people who can't afford cars or who can't make the public transit schedules work for them. So they're biking to get to work, to get to school, to do errands. And then there are a lot of people who like to do it for fun and have a recreational purpose in mind.
And do you think bicycling is getting generally safer out there? And do our infrastructure planners and construction folks, are they giving more thought to bicycle safety in the design work out there?
I think it's coming. So there's been a movement in the transportation planning community the past 10 years or so that's called Complete Streets, and it looks at designing a street or renovating a street with all the users of that transportation infrastructure in mind. So not just to make it better for cars and trucks to get through, but also for bicyclists, pedestrians, young people, old people, people with disabilities. So from sidewalks to crosswalks to signals to bike lanes, all those types of improvements are gradually coming to become the mainstream in transportation planning.
Well, I know our county executive, in his Building a Better Ulster County initiative, is frequently talks about when a new bridge is being designed, rather than just replacing what had been there for decades and decades, now the thought is really to make it much more user-friendly with respect to having enough space for a pedestrian or a bicyclist to get through the bridge. Also to have, especially New Paltz is one example of that, areas to the side of the bridge where someone can get off and then view the Shawangunks and all the beautiful scenery that New Paltz has to offer. So keeping that kind of a concept in place when you replace the aging infrastructure certainly supports the initiatives of having individuals increase their walking or biking or making it safer for pedestrians. It's very important.
It's also important to note that when the County Highway Department goes out to repave a roadway, and this is under the direction of County Executive Mike Hine, they try to make the road wider, the shoulders shoulders wider for safety issues where they can. It's not always possible, but safety is a very important consideration, isn't it, Tom?
Well, from my perspective, it is the issue. I mean, I want people to go out and walk and bike as much as possible, but like any activity, it's not risk-free. And so we try and educate youth and adults on how they can make themselves safer, and also what to be aware of when they're out walking or out riding. And it's basically what you would call defensive driving skills as a motorist applied to someone on a bike or someone on foot.
Can you just review some of those, like some of the key ones?
Yeah, you want to be predictable. So for a bicyclist, you don't want to be weaving in and out of traffic, weaving in and out of parked cars. A pedestrian, you should be on a sidewalk if there is one. You should use a crosswalk if there is one. You shouldn't dart out between cars to cross the street in the middle of a block. You want to be visible. So for cyclists, bright clothing, lighting. For pedestrians, bright clothing, especially around the dusk and early morning hours, and the awareness to look around your environment. So if you're on foot, to look both ways before you cross. If you're on a bike, stop at the intersection, look around, see if there are other vehicles who are coming or going, trying to pass you, turning right, turning left, and make yourself in a safe place if those things are happening. So you're not putting yourself in harm's way by not realizing there are other vehicles that are, in possible conflict with you.
Well, certainly one of the things that I noticed when you came in today, Tom, is that you were wearing your helmet and you had your pants safely secured and whatever. You certainly live what you teach. You biked to the station, so that was very good to see.
Yeah, and I take my life seriously, so I'm trying to be as safe as possible. But you bring up a very good additional point, and that's kind of what we call a secondary or a passive layer of safety. So in addition to you being actively looking and riding or walking as aware as you can be, anything you can do on your person to make you safer, make you less risk prone, would include a helmet. And in New York State, if you're under 14, it is mandatory to wear a helmet when you're bicycling. Over that age, it is completely optional. But when I teach adults, it's number one, if you're going to be biking, your head is your most valuable part of your body and the most seriously injured in most cases when people are not wearing a helmet.
And getting a good helmet. I remember, both in bicycling and motorcycling, I do both of those. I would always say to folks, if you have a cheap head, get a cheap helmet. But if you invest in your helmet if you can, if you have the means to do it, because it is the number one protective.
Yeah, and a good helmet. There are two national certifying agencies. So really, if you look inside the helmet and see that one of those certifications, it's adequate to protect you. Beyond that, you can pay a lot of money and have a very stylish helmet. You can have a very high venting, so lots of vents, and lightweight is important to some riders. But in terms of safety, there's really not a whole lot of difference.
Not much. I guess maybe that's then more in motorcycles.
Maybe so.
I remember they had a Schnell Foundation, which was named after a race car driver who had a helmet on, and it actually split in two because it had a seam running down the middle. Wow. So I guess it's different in bicyclists. You're right.
Well, the Schnell Foundation is one of those certifying agencies. The other one is ANSI, which I can't remember what it stands for, but either one of those are recognized as doing the testing and making sure that whatever the model, whatever the manufacturer, it is going to be suitable for its use.
Well, ANSI certainly certifies a lot of personal protective equipment, even in the occupations. So that would be considered a gold standard when you get that certification, for sure.
Yep. And I know that you mentioned reflective clothing and also lighting, and I can't tell you how many times where a bicyclist at night or at dusk just appears out of nowhere because they have no lights on their bike or no reflective clothing, and the lights are very nice that they make for bikes now. They're with the red tail light in the back and the headlight, and I can't understand why people would not do that. That's just such an obvious one.
It's lack of knowledge that how invisible they really are. So we have an exercise, one of the classes I teach, where we're either in the evening or if we're in a classroom, we turn off all the lights. and I have someone sit on a bike and I have another person on another bike, and we turn a rear tail light on and we look at the two people. Who can you see? Mm-hmm. And if they're standing 50 feet away or 100 feet away, it's very clear. You absolutely cannot see someone without a light on. So that kind of, oh, wow, it really does make a difference. Helps people understand that it's important to do.
So, Tom, how did you develop such a passion for biking and how did it come to be that you made it such a big part of your life? I'm just curious.
Well, as with you, I grew up bike riding around my neighborhood, went to a friend's house, did bike rides all over town, and as an adult, I had two kids and wanted them to be biking. And once they were kind of into the middle school age and I had more time to think about it, I realized that there were fewer kids riding their bikes anywhere, whether to school, whether to their friend's house, whether to the store, and started trying to figure out why. And there are a lot of concerns today that it's not as safe, there's too much traffic,
distracted drivers,
there's crime, there's all these things. So I thought, well, we're losing a whole generation, or potentially losing a generation of people who won't have the experience of learning how to ride, number one, and two, enjoying it. So that's when I decided through the YMCA to see if we could get some educational programs that would teach some safety skills, but also the joy of getting out on a bike.
Mm-hmm. I know. We used to live on our bikes when we were kids. I mean, of course, that was the baby boom generation. So, at any given time, there'd be like 30 kids out, either on bicycles or having a baseball game or a football game or something going on outdoors. And that's really, you're right, that is being lost to the younger generations these days. I'd like to get into the programs at the Y that you manage, but I think what we'll do right now is just take a short break, and we'll be back right after these messages. And we have Tom Polk from the YMCA who runs their bicycle programs. So stay tuned. We'll be back in a second.
In emergency care, it's all about experience. At Health Alliance Hospital Broadway campus, a member of the Westchester Medical Center Health Network, it's another way we're investing in you. We're board certified in emergency medicine, nationally recognized in stroke care, and use telemedicine to give patients access to the region's leading specialists. Patients tell us we make their experience exceptional by treating them with the utmost respect. Health Alliance Hospital Broadway campus. We're advancing care here. Visit hahv.org for more.
Welcome back. You are listening to Healthy Ulster Radio. Our special guest today is Tom Polk. Tom, would you tell us some more about the programs that the YMCA has to offer? And, can you basically tell us, do they encompass youth, adults? Can you give us more information?
Sure. The longest running program is called Bike It, and it's a Saturday morning program for youth aged 10 to 15. And it runs in the spring and the fall, and we have a 3-hour block on Saturday mornings where we start off with either a safety lesson or a bike mechanics lesson, and then we go on a bike ride with groups of anywhere from 8 to 15 youth. There are 2 to 4 adult ride leaders who are always present. And we make use of the city streets here in Kingston. We make use of the rail trails in other parts of Ulster County and some of the country roads around the county. So we really try and show the kids and a lot of the parents just what kind of opportunities there are to ride your bike in our area. So that's been going the longest, and we have a fall and a spring session. The spring session started last week, and we'll be going right through the middle of June with that program. More recently, we've started a couple of after-school programs. One is at the Everett Hodge Center in Midtown Kingston, and that is in conjunction with the City of Kingston and Family of Woodstock, who manage the Hodge Center after-school program. So we're there one day a week, and we have bicycles that are that are owned by the city that were purchased through a grant through the Department of Health. And so the kids are able to do similar things, although we only have about an hour or so after school. So we have a little bit of safety education and a short ride around Midtown. And the other after-school program is at the Bailey Middle School, also in Kingston. And we work with the middle school youth. So they're a little bit older, and some of them have more bike riding skills, but some still need to have some confidence building. So we do some skills training on the school grounds before we go out to the streets around the school. And those programs are during the school year, in the spring and in the fall. Over the summer, we have a big mountain bike program up at the YMCA Day Camp, Camp Siwacamano. So there'll be 2 weeks of that in July and August. And that's really for advanced mountain biking. We have some very enthusiastic youth who have been racing and who may be out on the trails up in that area a lot. So we get out to some real serious mountain biking skills and territory for that program. And then on the adult side, we have what I call everyday biking, which is a 9-hour course that is certified through the League of American Bicyclists. And the curriculum covers everything from how to pick a bike, how to ride safely in traffic, to actual on-bike skills where we teach people how to safely stop, how to make moves around obstacles or hazards in the road. And then we do a road test on the streets of Kingston, and combined with a written test, it enables the individuals to pursue further bicycle education curriculum, which could lead to their certification as a bicycle trainer. And we need more trainers. So I'm always trying to encourage people to further their education once they do the introductory class. The Y is also a big sponsor of the annual Tour de Kingston bike ride, which is coming up June 25th. And that features a series of rides from a 5-mile family ride around Kingston, which is free and open to anyone with a bike. And we get a lot of families with young children, and it's escorted by the Kingston Police Department and our volunteer ride marshals. So it's very safe. At the other extreme, we have a 50-mile road ride, which is for the real experienced bike rider who wants a challenging, somewhat hilly course. In Ulster County, we've got plenty of hills, so we route the riders around some of the beautiful spots in the county, and they've got to be prepared to work to see those sites. In between, there are shorter rides along the rail trails and a shorter road ride for more intermediate riders. The last program that the Y operates is called Lend a Wheel, and this is a bicycle donation and reuse program. So we get bicycles donated to the Y, and then we refurbish them and get them back into the hands of people who will use them for basic transportation. So we work with Habitat for Humanity, Family of Woodstock, and other social service agencies to identify clients or people who need a bike and can't afford one. So we're able to get the old bikes that people may have in their garage or an old shed that they're not riding anymore. And generally, if they're not in too bad of shape, we can get them back into roadworthy condition and into the hands of someone who will be able to actually use that bike, and it'll help their life. So that's, in a nutshell, that's what the Y biking programs entail at this point.
Wow, there really is something for everyone, and it really, it's amazing.
So if someone wishes to donate a bike, how would they go about doing that?
They would call me at the YMCA, and I'll make arrangements for them to deliver the bike to us, in a schedule that meets with their life. Unfortunately, we can't arrange to pick up any bikes, and we really are looking more for adult bikes than children's bikes. But depending on what the individual has, we may take a child's bike too.
That's great. And there's also an organization called Bike Friendly Kingston. What's that all about?
Bike Friendly Kingston is a great group of activists in Kingston who are advocating for safer bike infrastructure and encouraging and educating the public about biking. So they meet monthly and have a series of bike rides, which are very much in tune with the everyday person who just wants to get out and do a short ride around town. And those have been going the last couple of weeks, and they'll continue on Thursday nights at 6 p.m., leaving out of Dietz Stadium. So riding. Bike Friendly Kingston also is a strong and vocal advocate to the City Council, to the county transportation planners. When there is a project that's coming up that involves the bicycle infrastructure or the transportation infrastructure, they're there to express the needs and opinions of people who use bicycles to get around. So a lot of the comments on some of the counties and the city's proposals for infrastructure have been based on what Bike Friendly Kingston has gotten its members to come out and talk about. So we're happy to see a lot of these plans now in the works that will improve biking in the city and in the county.
And we should remind people also that Ulster County Area Transportation allows, which are the buses that go all over Ulster County, allow people to take their bikes and put them on a special rack up front.
Yeah.
So if they want, if the bus doesn't go directly to where they work or where they might want to shop, they can put the bike on the bus and ride the last mile or what have you. Yeah. And also interesting, Metro North allows bicycles on their trains too. So a lot of folks now from the city who are coming up to Poughkeepsie, putting with their bikes, taking the elevator up to the walkway on the Hudson, and then riding the amazing rail trail system that the county executive is really building out and developing. And it's really becoming a world-class rail trail system, and that's really a great place to ride.
Yeah, and just on that, the governor in his budget this year proposed, and it was approved, what is going to be called the Empire State Trail, which will go from New York City to the Canadian border and from Albany to Buffalo. So it will be a 750-mile combination of trails and on-road bicycle facilities that will go through Ulster County. So we are the only county on the west side of the Hudson to have the Empire State Trail be designated in our jurisdiction. So that's something that will bring more infrastructure and give those people who do seriously consider biking, maybe not 750 miles, but 300 and 400 miles.
I won't be going to Buffalo soon on my bike?
As soon as you want to, Ben. I mean, so yeah, there is a recognition at the state level as well that people are really interested in seeing these kind of facilities, and that they will get used when they're built.
So, Tom, I think you answered this question earlier with one of your programs, but if folks don't have much experience in biking and maybe want to get into it, or maybe they haven't done it since they were kids, they had a long layover, how do they get started? What's the best way to get started?
Well, the best way is to come to one of my classes, of course. But I've got one starting on Tuesday, May 9th at the Y, and there are still spots available. It'll be 3 Tuesdays from 5:30 to 8:30. And I guess for people who that doesn't work, I would suggest going to their local bike shop. If they have an old bike that they haven't ridden for a while, first of all, it needs to get a tune-up and a safety evaluation to make sure it's okay to ride. And the local bike shops are really a very important part of the bicycling community. There are linked to expertise, and the people who run them are, for the most part, have had many years of experience in the industry and in biking, so they can advise where some local rides might be that would be suited to try out. They know the facilities like the rail trails that people might want to start out in. If they haven't been biking for a while, that would certainly be one of my suggestions, is get to a rail trail. You won't have to worry about traffic. You can
relatively flat, so
they're
if you're
relatively
not up
flat,
the hills,
right. And you can kind of get your confidence back. And the other thing would be, Bike Friendly Kingston has got some great programs that people who are interested in getting back into biking can take advantage of. And there's there are a couple bicycle clubs, both mountain bike clubs and road riding clubs, that would have tips and suggestions for what you can do.
Well, we're looking at Healthy Ulster County Week next week, May 6th. So, certainly that might be a good time if anybody is thinking of or considering it to go ahead and try one of your classes.
Yeah. The great thing about biking is, it's something you can do by yourself. You can do it with a partner. Yeah. You could do it with your family. There really is truly something for everyone. So, Tom, regarding everything we've discussed today, where do people go to get more information or to contact you? What's the best way to do that? The YMCA phone number, which is 338-3810. You can ask for me, or you can email me at tpolk@ymcaulster.org. Another good resource is the New York Bicycling Coalition website, which is nybc.net, which has lots of tips and advice for new riders and lots of news about
events going around the state. So those would be, and the Bike Friendly Kingston Facebook page would be where to go for Bike Friendly Kingston information.
Oh, great. We have so many great resources here, and guys like you that do such great work in the community, and it's really wonderful. We're really very fortunate in Ulster County, and biking is a great way to enjoy everything out there and your friends and family. So get out there. There's no excuse. And that's about all the time we have for today,
Yeah,
Dr.
thank you,
Smith.
Tom.
Oh, you're very welcome.
Your time.
Thank you, Tom. And please tune in next week for more great ways that you can use to keep yourself, your family, and your community healthy and strong with Healthy Ulster Radio. See you next week.
You've been listening to the Healthy Ulster Radio Show, a community affairs presentation from the Ulster County Health Department, sponsored by Health Alliance of the Hudson Valley in Kingston, a member of the WMC Health Network. Thanks for listening, and be sure to join us for another edition of the Healthy Ulster Radio Show next week.